It's Homecoming 2024. I'm Jeff, joined by Levi and Tim. We're going to bring you the roundtable first tonight because we've got homecoming activities that are just a few minutes away. Guys, let's go back a week to a very satisfying victory over Cabot. Levi, your thoughts first.
Well, we knew going in that their strength was running the ball. That's what they wanted to do with Keegan Vest and that big offensive line. And on the game as a whole, we held them to 79 yards. And I'm going to say maybe even about half of that came in the second half after we had pulled the dogs off. So I mean, mission accomplished. As you go in and you think this is what Buck James does, right? He neutralizes threats. That's what he what he's always done. When he was at Bryant, he did it to us all the time, and we've seen him do it week in and week out since he's been here. Is he looks at the other team and he finds out, well, what do they do best? It's like it's very Belichickian, right? We're gonna find out what they do best. We're gonna take that away and make them do something else. And I mean, going into Cabot and totally controlling the game like that by shutting down their ground game, it was just something to behold. I mean, there's not many times we've gone in there and felt that good coming out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a deal for me in that I kind of, and Levi would tell you that I find ways for us to lose all the time, but I did go in thinking that we could do that kind of performance if we could get it to a single threaded kind of offensive threat, and man, did we ever. And the thing about it is that you can beat Cabot a couple of years here and there. They run up and down a little bit, but this was an absolute domination, and that's not done at Cabot very often. Buck James even said, I don't know that I've ever, even with his Bryant teams, ever come in and done that. So it was, I think, a stake in the ground moment for this team, and it was a good stake in the ground.
Another thing that we saw last week was the continuing legend of Jacoby Wade. Just an incredible performance. I was able to be field level to witness it, and he's something. he is something else.
Yeah, he came into the game with 2 catches. That happened all the way back in week 0 against Jonesboro. He's been on offense in some of the games since then, but just they haven't been able to get the ball to him. And then he had 2 catches for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. So yeah, I mean it was amazing, especially that second one, where he knows as a safety, because that's his trade. He knows where that contact's about to come from, and he didn't fully work out of it, but he mostly worked out of it to where he was able to absorb that hit, which was crazy in itself, and then finish the job the rest of the way. I mean, yeah, the legend of Jacoby Wade. That's it. That's it.
His first year, I remember Coach Fimple saying, if we don't find ways for Jacoby to get the ball, we better find ways for him to be around the ball. Just good things happen when Jacoby's around there. He's one of those guys, one of those special guys that the ball seems to love, Jacoby Wade.
6-0, 3-0 in the conference so far for the Wampus Cats. The opponent tonight, not so much. 1-5 overall. They did get a victory, did Little Rock Central earlier this year to break a long losing streak. They are 0-3 in conference play. They're coached by a former Wampus Cat coach, Anthony Robinson. So we root for him when he's not playing us. But what can you tell us about the Tigers coming in tonight?
Yeah, I think you can definitely see improvements with Little Rock Central even from a year ago. I mean, certainly they've gotten 1 win, so there's some improvement there. I
Yep.
think their challenge is, can they get the ball to their playmakers, and do they have enough time to do that? Because they have some guys out on the perimeter that it's kind of like Southwest a little bit. If you can get them the ball, they can make some moves and they can get some first downs and string some things together. But from a line perspective on both sides of the ball, they just don't have a lot of size and strength there right now. And so it's very difficult for them to have time to get the ball to their playmakers. So, which if you look at, some of our strengths, not a great matchup for them tonight, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, you feel like Central's moving in the right direction, but it's very incremental right now.
Yeah, they're building for the future. You can tell. I mean, this is going to be another tough year, and you hate it for Coach Rob, but it is a program, though. They've started pouring money into their program again. They're building new facilities. They're doing all the right things, and I think success will follow. And we really need Little Rock Central to be good. To your point, Jeff, historic program.
Yeah.
You want to see them good. You want to see them always a notch below Conway, though.
We haven't talked about this very much, but I think it's worth talking about tonight is the fact that we haven't seen anything that resembles complacency. At least I haven't as a fan just watching. It's been It's been a grind to get to this point. The games haven't been competitive. It's been pretty easy sledding to this point. That changes next week in a huge way. It's all building up to that. Have you guys seen any of that from this team?
Well, we've been talking, me and Tim have been talking about, you say every year there's 3 seasons, right? There's your non-conference, and then you've got conference, and then the playoffs. But really this year it feels like there's another season added in here. So there's 4 total. You've got your non-conference, you've got the first half of conference, and then you have the real conference schedule, which begins. I mean, I don't want to be looking ahead, but I mean, come on, that really starts next week. And so it's hard to know. Yes, we're playing well. Yes, we're dominating, but it's hard to know just how good we are because we haven't stacked up against anybody yet that could really fully challenge us. I mean, Bentonville did it for a little while. Jonesboro did it for a little while back in week 0. But other than that, it's so hard to, the measuring stick is off right now because we just haven't come up against full 4-quarter competition. That will change.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it right there. We haven't played into the second half yet, really. And so when we're challenged beyond halftime, when we have to make adjustments rather than figuring out who's going to go in next, that's a big change for us. I think we've got the coaching staff to do that. Mentality, your question of mentality and focus. Bug James, his practices are hard regardless of how good they're playing.
All right, guys, it is homecoming, a big night, and then we will look forward to that next part of the season next week on the road at Pulaski Academy. Kickoff tonight is 7 o'clock. All the homecoming festivities kind of start around 6:20, 6:30 in that time range. We'll be on the air at 6:15. So plenty of time for you to watch all the homecoming festivities and then enjoy the game tonight. That's tonight on ConwayCorp Channel 5 and online at ConwayCorp.com/WC2Go.